are you thinking about moving to Kansas City? Maybe one of Kansas City's mini suburb areas like LEES Summit, Missouri? Well, if you're thinking about moving, but you want to know what the cost of living is all about, well, we're going to talk about it in this video, and we're going to get after it right now. Hey folks, thanks a lot for checking out this channel, Living in Kansas City. And if you're new to the channel and you want to learn everything there is to know about what is actually living like here in Kansas City and its surrounding areas, then what you want to do is make sure you subscribe, tap that bell for notifications, get in the comments. We're in the comments. Make sure you also share this video. This video is all about Kansas City. It's all about what Kansas City is like living here. So I'm going to be telling you the good, the bad, and yes, even the ugly. My name is Bilal. You may recognize me from reality TV, but I am a native Kansas Cityan. And one of the things that I absolutely love is this beautiful city of Kansas City and its surrounding areas. So I made a channel that is dedicated all about what it's like living here in Kansas City. So I'm going to be telling you everything for what it's like to live here, to play here, to work here, to sleep here, and everything in between. That also includes the real estate right here in this Kansas City area and the surrounding areas like right here in LEES Summit. So I'm going to be letting you know everything there is to know about Kansas City life right here in the Kansas City area, which is, again, we're in LEES Summit today. So we're going to be talking about that. And because Kansas City is growing, Kansas City is blowing up. Kansas City is known as the city of fountains, the Paris of plains. It is the heart of America, right? I mean, the heart, that's where everything happens, right? The beat of it. So the heart of America is the center of the country, which is also now the center of attention. I get calls, I get texts, I get DMs every single day from people just like you who are looking to move in this wonderful city of ours, Kansas City. So I absolutely love it. So whether you're looking to move, whether it's 10 days from now, 100 days from now, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, and I'll be happy to help you make that smooth move right here to Kansas City. So folks, on this video, we're talking about what it's like, the cost of living. As we know, the cost of living has dramatically increased all around this country, and that also includes right here at Kansas City, and especially some of the suburb areas like LEES Summit. Ever since COVID, prices have went up dramatically in a lot of areas. So what does that look like here in LEES Summit? Well, we're going to talk about it right now. Okay, so first up, what we have is housing. Well, why housing first? Well, one, I freaking love real estate, right? That's one. I mean, two, obviously I'm a real estate professional. I'm a realtor located right here in the greater Kansas City area. But number three, which is really why, is that housing represents a significant amount of your everyday income. You know, so your expenses are what you're putting out on a regular basis, whether you're renting or whether you're owning a home and you have a mortgage. So housing has significantly increased, and this is no secret. This has happened all around the country. As specifically here in the LEES Summit area, housing has went up in some areas. We're talking about from 10% up to nearly 30%. So we're talking nearly 10 to 30% on average in LEES Summit area. So we're not just talking about, you know, things that have happened on the coast. Housing has went up dramatically in other areas all around the country, and that, yes, also includes right here in LEES Summit, Missouri. But here's a caveat. Unlike a lot of other major cities, like, again, on the coast and things like that, the housing hasn't went up dramatically opposed to some of those cities. Like if you live on the East Coast, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you live on the West Coast, you definitely know what I'm talking about. But yes, we have seen increases of housing, and to be frank with you, we don't see those housing prices really kind of going down, because the reality is that we have a very low inventory that is all around the country. And business 101, when the supply is low and the demand is high, well, the prices of value of things, they tend to go up. So we don't see that going down anytime soon, and frankly, I don't think it would ever go down. As mortgage rates will start to go down, I think we're also going to see the prices frankly start to go up even more, because the demand will go up higher again, because you're going to have more buyers that are going to be flooding the market. They're going to be looking for great bargains on houses because the mortgage rates have went down. But it is what it is right now. This is really our new norm. Ever since COVID, this has happened, and we just have to adjust to it. So if you're looking to buy in the Lee's Summit area, well, compared to 2020, prices, home values have went up anywhere between the 10, 30%. 30% on the high end, but typically we're looking more around an 18% area. But again, it really just depends on the neighborhood. So that includes Lee's Summit, because Lee's Summit has a lot of different pockets, a lot of different neighborhoods. Like right now, we're in the neighborhood of Lakewood, which ranges from all different price ranges. You could be starting in the $400,000 range right here in Lakewood, but you can also go all the way to the $2 million range in Lakewood. This really depends on what block you're on, what neighbor you're on, how close you are to the lake. And no, this is not the lake behind me. We're talking about a massive lake. So it just really depends. Another thing about housing, and I gotta be real with you, is it goes along with taxes. If you're living in the Jackson County area, which is on the Missouri side, which also includes Lee's Summit, Jackson County has went up dramatically on their real estate taxes. When I say dramatically, I am talking about, in some cases, some houses, the value of the houses have went up 100, 200, and even 300% than the taxes were in previous years. So this is dramatic increase, which causes some people not to be able to even afford their house because the taxes has went up so dramatically. So because of that, there are huge appeals that are going on right now. I know personally I had to appeal my house and some of my other rental properties and things like that right now, currently going on right now. So fingers crossed on that. But you have some people who are, who can't, afford that to go up dramatically like that. People are living on fixed incomes and things like that. So, hey, I told you on this channel, we're going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, that is an ugly part of what's happening right now in Jackson County. The county has assessed it. A lot of the, again, taxes, home taxes have went up dramatically. So if you're thinking about moving in Jackson County, well, that's one of those things you got to deal with right now. And so I suggest you go through appeal, and feel free to reach out, because I can also help you with that as well too. Next up we have is utility costs. Well, unlike a lot of other cities, housing here is dramatically much lower compared to a lot of other cities. But when it comes to the utilities can be a bit higher as well. We have companies like Energy, as an example, which does a lot of the electricity within the Jackson County area, which is where Lee's Summit resides in. Energy, I don't know, they're coming out literally right now as we're talking with some plan where it's almost like a cell phone plan, where you have to pick a plan and to decide how much usage you think you're going to use, and based off of that, what your price will be, versus in the past, you just use the energy and you get billed off of the energy that you use. Well, now they're coming up with some master plan. So I don't know how that's going to turn out, but that's what's in the works right now. But utility costs has been going up over the number of years now. So that is another thing that you have to consider if you're wanting to live in the Lee's Summit area. Yeah, houses are much lower when it comes to the price, but as a whole, the utilities are higher. So it's a catch-22. What are you gonna do? Next up, we have to talk about transportation. Transportation right here in the Lee's Summit area, much like the greater Kansas City area, it sucks. It lacks. Again, we're going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, transportation isn't the best here. We don't, because you're out in the suburb area, you don't see massive transportation when it comes to buses, when it comes to trains, when it comes to, I know like in the greater Kansas City area, you have all those things for buses. You have, Amtrak, you have the trolley, which they're extending right now as well too. But that's really just more so in the entertainment district and entertainment areas. When you come out to the suburb area, the reality is that if you want to get around this area, well, the fact of the matter is you are going to need your own transportation. You're going to need a car. You're going to need a car to be able to drive. So if you don't have your license, get the study in because you're going to need transportation, or you're going to be either Ubering a lot. No, we're not. This city is not really big on taxes, though we do have taxis, I should say, not taxes. The city is not really big on taxis, but we do have taxis. But for the most part, if you want to get to one destination to the other, you're either going to be driving yourself, or if it's just a one-nighter and you're trying to go out and have fun and things like that, well, you want to make sure that you Uber, Lyft, things like that. There are plenty of a shared driving apps, places that are around within the Kansas City area that you can be able to do. So, but the fact of the matter is, you are going to need a car, some type of vehicle, to survive in the Kansas City area, and specifically right here in the suburbs here in Lee's Summit. Another big expense right now that is just blowing up more and more and more and more. Really, another thing since COVID is groceries. Groceries has been a huge expense, and again, I'm not just talking about right here in Lee's Summit. Yes, that's true, but I'm talking all around the country for that matter. But specifically, we're talking about only Summit, Missouri. Groceries have went up dramatically. We're talking things like orange juice and milk and eggs. I mean, you almost like gotta give like your kidney away just to go out to the grocery store and get some groceries. I mean, come on, what's going on? So groceries have went up dramatically, but I would tell you one little secret that you can do to offset some of those groceries, because groceries, I mean, depending on how many people are living in your home, groceries can be almost like another mortgage payment, specifically if you have a larger family, etc. But one of the things that I would tell you that you could do is to help offset that is start to go to the farmers market. Lee's Summit has an incredible farmers market that happens in the Lee's Summit area every single weekend. People get together, farmers get out together, and you can get some local, organic, great vegetables and fruits and things like that, which is dramatically much cheaper than your counterparts going to the actual big chain grocery stores. And to be frank with you, it's probably much more out there anyway. I'm just saying. But you can do that. It's dramatically much cheaper. And Kansas City as well, if you just want to take if you're in Lee's Summit area and you want to take a 20 to 30 minute drive to Kansas City downtown area, it's an area called the City Market every single day, but specifically on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, it is huge. You'll have farmers come from all around to City Market. Is a sight to see, and you can get some great local organic foods as well there, and it's really beautiful. You can get some great things, and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg as it may do buying things in a grocery store. But again, from that standpoint, you still have to go to the grocery store to get some other different things, like if you're looking to get milk, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a great thing that you may want to do. All right, next up we have is healthcare. Healthcare represents a huge expense as well too for most Americans, because the fact of the matter is we don't have healthcare that is free for every single body that is in America, which is kind of a shame if you think about it. I mean, there are a lot of third world countries that have free healthcare. A lot of other countries like Canada, things like that. Trust me, I have some family in Canada, so we get rubbed in our face all the time when it comes to that. But we don't have that. So really, this really depends on you, your situation, your job, if a job offers healthcare. If you are a 1099 employee, or if you are someone who works for yourself or you're an entrepreneur, well, the fact of the matter is you got to provide your own healthcare. And someone like myself, who is an entrepreneur, who's 1099 as a realtor, etc. So you got to provide your own healthcare, and that can be very expensive, specifically if you have a family. So you also want to think about that, and healthcare can be, we're on the national average when it comes to that, living here in the Missouri area, but the reality is it's pretty expensive, and it gets expensive, and it can be more expensive if you don't have healthcare and something happens to your family, God forbid, where you have to go to the hospital, or if you are having a child or anything remotely like that. I don't know, like, it's so expensive to live in America if you don't have health care for us, having medical, and you're going to get some service at the hospital. It can be extremely, extremely expensive, extremely dicey. So you want to make sure that you definitely check up on healthcare, but healthcare it could cost you a pretty penny. That's for sure. All right, next up we got taxes. Missouri does have state income taxes, unlike our counterparts like Texas and Florida, things like that. So you do have taxes that you have to pay in Missouri, and we already talked about how taxes are going to have went up. Taxes that went up dramatically. Places like Jackson County specifically, which is where we are located at, and so you got to pay a lot of taxes. Again, Kansas City sits. You've heard me talk about this a lot, and if you're familiar with Kansas City sits on the border of Missouri and Kansas. So if you're on the Missouri side, guess what? You pay more taxes. You pay more taxes when it comes to just your regular everyday spending, like when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the shopping center, etc. The taxes are higher in Missouri than it is in our sister city in Kansas. So be cognizant on that. So even if you live in Kansas, as an example, but you shop in Missouri, guess what? You're going to pay some taxes over here in the Missouri area. And it's going to be higher than it is in Kansas. So just keep that in mind. Missouri has higher taxes than Kansas. Last but not least, we are going to talk about entertainment and dining. Now, one of the things I can tell you about living here in Kansas City is that the cost of living is relatively much lower than it is in a lot of other cities, specifically major metropolitan areas around the country. But here in LEES Summit specifically, the entertainment area and the dining isn't as expensive. I know when I go to some other areas around the country, it can be pretty pricey to go out on a nice day, or be able to take your family out and things like that. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't get pricey here, but as a whole, it is so much dramatically cheaper to go out and dine your family, have a good time, enjoying the scene, whether in LEES Summit or in other suburban areas that are connected to the Kansas City metropolitan area, whether it's in Kansas, like Overland Park or Leewood, or you're here in LEES Summit, or you are here in Blue Springs, or if you're in Kansas City proper. The entertainment area is much more cheaper. Dining is much cheaper than a lot of other major cities, but as a whole, we still have seen things go up and have creeped up compared to what it was 3 years ago prior to COVID-19. But as a whole, entertainment and dining options is dramatically different than it is in a lot of other cities, and that is a plus. Hey, we told you we're going to talk about the good, we're going to talk about the bad, talk about the ugly. Well, guess what? We have talked about some of the good things like entertainment. When it comes to the cost of entertainment and dining, we've talked about the bad, housing. Housing has went up, but the fact of the matter is housing has went up everywhere because of supply and demand. And we've also talked about the ugly, things like taxes. Jackson County has increased their taxes in some cases, and some houses have increased 100, 200, 300% more than it was in the previous year. So again, if you're looking to appeal that, feel free to reach out. I can try to help you with that as well too, but just be cognizant on that if you're thinking about moving over here in the LEES Summit in the Jackson County area. So folks, I hope you all enjoyed this vlog today on just really the cost of living right here in LEES Summit. Hope I'll be able to give you some value. If you're thinking about whether transitioning and moving to the Kansas City area, or if you already live in the Kansas City area and you're thinking about moving to LEES Summit, hey, LEES Summit is a really great area. Population is roughly around 100,000 people. So not huge, but it has a great family just atmosphere. The school districts are absolutely amazing. Great family-oriented neighborhoods, etc. And overall, it's a really good place to live. And you're just minutes and minutes away from Kansas City. So if you're looking to move, whether it's 10 days from now or 100 days from now, the main thing is get in contact with me, shoot me a text, send me an email, give me a call, or even schedule a Zoom, and I'll be happy to help you make that smooth move right here to LEES Summit or any other greater Kansas City area. But folks, as always, until next time, I look forward to seeing you and showing you around this beautiful town. Until next time, talk to you later.